Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this week. And let me tell you what a week it has been. We had our rate cut, our first rate cut. Of course, we're going to talk about that in the news. The Stanley Cup Finals started on yesterday. So hence we got the Bear and the Bull all ready for their little rivalry. So far, the Bears winning. They're up 1-0. So we got that. We'll cover that. We'll cover everything. It's going to be a fantastic Sunday afternoon. So glad you guys can make it. Yeah, this is going to be really, really, really cool. A very quick shout out to Blossom. Those of you who have not yet taken the dive into the Blossomverse, there is a link down below. Blossom is that social media app that is designed for, run by investors. So pretty darn cool over there. Chance to connect with other people, all of that fun stuff. So definitely go on over, give me a follow. I'll follow you back. I can't wait to see what you guys are posting. It's a lot of fun. Now, over on the Discord, wanted to sort of touch on this one right away. Yesterday morning at like 7 in the morning. So 7 in the morning yesterday, I start getting, my watch starts exploding because I get all of these notifications. And it's just like bing, 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 bing. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, what the heck is going on over on Discord? Well, some kind of a porn site decided to make an ad post on every single thread. So it was just like they were everywhere. I was like, what the heck? Luckily, I went in right away. I banned the person and that removed all their posts. So I was like, okay. But funny enough, I don't know how long they were up, but at least one person noticed them and said, somebody please get rid of these. So yeah, we did. So just one of those fun things over on Discord. It is a fantastic place. I love it over there, but it is a higher spam environment. So you sometimes do run into things. You sometimes run into fake me's who are trying to, talk you into some kind of a crypto scam or something. So just be careful over there. Actually, be careful on the internet in general, because the last thing I want is to see you guys get into any kind of trouble. Once again, we do have the new sign. I went with I basically picked a color that I thought would look good. Turquoise. Jill popped her head in earlier when she's like, wait, why are you doing green again? And I'm like, that's not green. It's turquoise. It's a different color. So we're going to go with that. We're going to go with that for today. Unless you guys are like, no, we hate turquoise. Make it orange or something. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right. Before we do anything at all, let's get to the chat. You guys are absolutely exploding the chat. All right. I can't even see the first chat for whatever reason. Oh, I think it's because my welcome message is in the way. There we go. Dismiss. Perfect. Jonathan was in here nice and early with his good old traditional, am I late? Uh-oh, that's why. Never mind. I was looking at it. There we go. Perfect. Now it's working properly. The am I late? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And Vineet was in pretty early too. No, you're not late, Jonathan. All right. Terry's in the house with a ding. Hi, gang. We got Bismarcky. Bismarcky's in the house. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all had a relaxing week. And yeah, there's Terry just welcoming everybody else. Let's get this party started. I like that. I like that completely. Bismarcky says, good afternoon, all. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Me too. Me too. All right. And Sammer is in with a hello, guys. And Jerry says, thanks and hello, John. Canada Checkup is on the air. Oh, right. Is that what we decided? Calling it the Candace Canada Checkup or something like that? That's fine. Oilers or Panthers? I gotta go with the Oilers because I'm Canadian. That's the biggest reason. I don't think it'll be a cakewalk. I think it's going to be a tough series. But we'll have to see how that all turns out. So right up until they are eliminated, if they're eliminated, I will be 100% Oiler Nation. All right. Bobby's in the house. Hi, everyone, from Bobby. And then we got Al Bundy, who's in here. Hola to you as well. And Enid is in the house. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. And we got Abalash. And we got Mary. And of course, I saw Mary. So now I have to say, hit the like button, folks. Hit that like button, turn it, and I'll do the thing. I'll do the coffee thing while you guys hit the like button. So that did taste a little bluer. I like it. I like it. We got 9. 9 is here. And Enid saying, happy Sunday. Vic is in. I got another. So got another 100 BMO, but kept dropping the set limit order at 157.50, but it kept dropping. Holy banana bread. Well, you got to take advantage of that for sure. Al Bundy says, I want to see those ads. Which ads? Which ads? We'll leave that be. Oh, are we talking about Starbucks? Enid says 100 BMO. Why collecting that many? 600 shares now in total. That's a good amount. That's a good amount of BMO. Enid says, wow, Vic, you're obsessed with BMO. Could be, could be. All right. 9 says, I've upped my penny cost averaging in QQCC to dollar cost averaging. Uh-oh. So pulling out the ATM, having a little bit of banana bread over there. I can't wait to see how this is going to end. Vic says, I try to get 1,000 shares of a blue chip on the dip, sell it for $1 profit per share, so $1,000 in a swing trade, and buy steak dinner. Wow, can you actually get a steak dinner for $1,000 nowadays? You know, price of food's getting up there. Vic says, otherwise craft dinner, or what mom makes. Uh-oh. You know what moms make? And you guys all know this. I'm sure all of your moms have done this. The craft dinner where they cut up wieners and they put the wieners in the craft dinner. It's like, ooh, it's getting fancy tonight, Mom. So it happens. I think we've all been there. Vic says, otherwise crap. Oh, I just did that one. Nice, Vic. Let's see. Abalash says, do you think there is some downturn for the banks and telecoms for the next few months? That's always a good question. Obviously, for TD, there's going to be a little bit of downturn because things keep getting worse on the whole money laundering part. Actually, we got a news story on TD coming up in the news today. So it really depends. It also is going to depend on, have they put enough aside for these for the losses? So the loan loss provisioning. I think that they're good for the first part, but you got to keep in mind, most of these mortgages are not expiring until late this year into 2025. So that's when the bigger part of this avalanche is going to be coming towards us. Now, if we start seeing more rate cuts, that could certainly could be very favorable for the banks. But as it sits right now, I don't think we're going to see a rate cut in July. I think that would be really, really, I would almost call it irresponsible. If the Bank of Canada came back and gave us another rate cut in July, I'd be like, do you guys like your jobs? Because they need time to sort of analyze and make sure that first of all, make sure that it was the right time to start the rate cuts. Give it a little bit of time to see what happens. If all of a sudden things start going back up, well, then maybe they cut a bit too soon. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Terry says, I hope the Oilers catch Florida with their Panthers down. There we go. There we go. Now, keep in mind, I listened. I didn't watch the game, but I did listen to it. And it seems to me that the Oilers, for the most part, it sounds like they outplayed them. So, when you outplay another team and they shut you down and shut you out, sometimes that means that you're going to come back with a bit of a bee in your bonnet. So I'm looking for Edmonton to now. If Edmonton does not win the next game and the Panthers go up 2-0, then we have a serious problem. But let's see what happens. I think it'll be a rough game. I think so for sure. Bismarcky hit the like button, so that's awesome. I gotta like that. Elise is in the house. Hi, everyone. Jonathan says, whoops. Jonathan says, hit that like button. Tell it Mary sent you. Yes, absolutely. Jay just bought 11 BMO. Look at this. Look at this. It's catching, Vic. You're passing it on. Your BMO love is a little contagious. Al says Kraft Dinner plus ketchup equal yum. Actually, ketchup's not that bad on Kraft Dinner. See, when I was a kid, for me, if I didn't like something, I drowned it in ketchup. Kraft Dinner being one of those things that was an exception. It actually did taste really good on it. But one of the things my family used to do is they wouldn't just make mashed potatoes. No, 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 no. They'd add carrots and turnips. So it'd be a mash mix. And I absolutely do not like turnips. So because of that, I for the longest time, I thought I just didn't like potatoes, but it wasn't that at all. I'm okay with mashed potatoes. I'm not a fan, but I'm okay with them. But it was the turnips. So for me, I went through a lot of ketchup as a kid, a lot of ketchup, because that was the only way. I had to coat it in ketchup so that way it would drown out the taste of the turnip. Yeah. Oh. Vic says, my mom doesn't charge me rent, so almost all of my money is into stocks, plus monies I would have used to smoke, also now diverted to investing. Good stuff. I'm really glad to hear that you are still firmly in the non-smoking camp. That's fantastic. That's a lot of money you've saved. That's a lot of money you've probably saved so far this year. Terry says, someone put a dash of yellow mustard in our mac and cheese with extra cheddar. It was revolutionary. I'm committed. Yeah, I could understand that. Or you know what also would be good? Honey mustard. I think honey mustard would actually taste pretty good in Kraft Dinner. 9 says, I've been doing fried onions in KD. This is funny. So it's actually funny. So I asked the channel members for different topics so that they can vote. I'll have that vote out for you guys tomorrow so that you guys can vote on what we're going to talk about on the exclusive live stream on Thursday. But the last one I got in was pretty much a cooking stream. And I'm like, oh dear, now you guys keep talking about food. Here's the thing. If I do a cooking stream, it's probably going to involve the fire department. It just won't go well. It won't go well at all. All right. Enid says KD. Vic says, let's see, Gruyere cheese, mac and cheese. Okay. A lobster too. Okay. Now we're going to fancy it up. Holy banana bread. Nan used to make a mean turnip pie. Oh God, Vic. I don't want any at all. Oh dear. Oh, that would just be, no, I can't do it. Sammer, what BDC, business development companies, does and what are the risks of them? Okay, so what do they do? Let me think here on this. So my understanding is a company that is in that field, they're kind of like, they're sort of like coaches for businesses. Like if you're starting a business and you really don't know how to grow your business and you need a lot of help getting things moving in the right direction, these would be the type of companies that you would reach out to. That's my understanding. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I don't think I am. Terry says 9. Yeah. Let's see. Smoking is a high tax item. More motivation to not smoke. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like I'm pretty sure that if you take a pack of smokes, it's probably close to 75% tax, if not higher. I don't know. I've never done it. So, but anyway, I'm just kind of figuring it out. Let's see. Vic says 9 equals 99. Do we have Gretzky here? That's who 9 really is, guys. Wayne Gretzky. Yeah, Vic has figured it out. This is wonderful. Ty says, if the Bank of Canada delivers more rate cuts, this will hurt and weigh on the Canadian dollar. It depends. Now, this is what they say. This is straight from Tiff Macklin. He says that they have a little bit of a buffer, so they can go quite a distance from where the Fed is without it really hurting us too much. But he's never said exactly how big of a buffer it is. But from my impression, we could probably go 2 to 3 rate cuts and still be fine. Still, have the Canadian dollar, roughly where it's at now. It may come down a little bit, but we'll have to sort of see how that goes. Now, this is how I would do it if I was the Bank of Canada. Is okay. We've done the rate cut in June. Let's sit back. Let's wait. And let's not just assume that we're going to do it in September. Maybe, but maybe not. Let's watch both the U.S. and our own economy and see how things are looking. Definitely, probably another one before the end of the year. But I would hold back and I would be very cautious because I wouldn't want to get too far away from the U.S. rate. But I would be willing to move a little bit, but not a lot. All right, no scratch lifestyle. What does the free cash flow number mean? Is it the money the company has in its bank account at the moment? All right, so free cash flow. So what that is that pretty much is it. That is money that is liquid, that's available, that's basically it's free, free cash, exactly as they call it. So yeah, a lot of times when you're calculating, when you're looking at overall revenue, and then you take out all of your expenses, once all of that's been taken care of, at the end, what you got left over, that's generally your free cash flow. There are other ways, though, that you can manipulate that. You can have money left over from like previous months, and that could contribute more to a free cash flow. Or you could be in a situation where in an expansion. So if you're expanding, you can have a negative free cash flow because of that, because your money's going straight into tying up and you're taking on some more debt. So there's a lot of things that go into that. I should do a short on free cash flow. That would be a good one. And here's the funny thing, no scratch. I am supposed to do a short for Blossom this week, so Thursday. So I will do free cash flow. I'll break it down for you in a short. Terry says mustard is in the Bible, honey as well. I think I'm baking turkey wings presently. Okay. Well, that's a strange place to be storing your mustard and honey. Like, did you hollow out the Bible to fit it in? Just curious. Kim says, hello, everybody. Vic says, bag holding 1,000 TD and waiting for X dividend to break even. Okay, fair enough. All right. Al Bundy says, why did BMO crash? I wouldn't call it a crash. Part of it is, a lot of it has to do with expectations. Their earnings report wasn't that great. It wasn't actually, as far as I know, I think they were the only ones that actually missed their expectations. So that's why they missed expectations. Vic says BMO has a lot of U.S. exposure and their outlook not great, but doesn't deserve current price punishment. No, it doesn't. Like, for example, TD actually met expectations, but they're doing bad because of the whole money laundering thing. So what can you say? Okay, we got Lachelle in the house. Hello, Michelle. Lachelle, good to see you. All right, I think you're new. I don't recognize your name. So always love to see when new people pop in. All right, let's get to our first news story. Holy banana bread. It's almost 20 minutes and we haven't even cracked into the news yet. So let's take a gander here. All right. So our first news story is titled 4.75%. It does not take a genius to know that that's all about the rate cut that we got. So everybody knows by now, I hope you do, or you haven't been on the internet. But the Bank of Canada did cut its interest rate from 5% to 4.75%. That was kind of interesting. Now, this is kind of funny. This whole cycle of increasing the rates, that began all the way back in March 2022. So it's been a long time since we've seen any kind of cut. We did get it. Now, the Bank of Canada, in their statements, they said that they are very pleased with the course of reduction in inflation that we've been experiencing. And they do feel that we're on a good path to reach that 2% target. So let's hope so. Let's hope so. Let's hope they're right. Tiff did say that it's like I know him. Yeah, me and Tiff hang out. No, but Tiff Macklem, he did say that they were expecting more rate cuts, which is actually surprising. I was a little surprised that he actually said that in the meeting, because normally it's like, okay, well, we're going to just let it go, see what happens, and see what the data suggests in the future. I wouldn't have actually come out and said, yeah, there's more coming. So that's interesting. So he did say that they are expecting more rate cuts, but that he did then reiterate that they're going to a month to month or a meeting to meeting basis. So I can't really say month to month because, like August, for example, we don't have a meeting at all. We go from July to September. Now, it's not that long because July 24th, September 5th. So it's almost like just a month still, but nonetheless, so the next meeting, as we said, July 24th, the chances of another rate cut on this date are really, really, really slim. I can't see the Bank of Canada doing it. I think it would be a really bad move if they did. So I don't think it's going to happen. I think September, good chance right now, the way it is. But for this moment, no, we're not going to see anything in July. We might get more positive words about future rate hikes. There may be some very dovish language that comes out, which would be great. The market would love that, but we won't see a rate cut. And as I was mentioning as well, this is what Tiff Macklem said. This is his words. I quote, "We don't need to move lock and step with the Federal Reserve. We have our own currency. We have a flexible exchange rate. So that means that we can take decisions that are geared to what the Canadian economy needs." So that's the words that he used in his press conference. So I think we're fine. I do think we're fine. I think we can probably, like I said, I think we can probably do 2 to 3 cuts without it really impacting the Canadian dollar. Maybe we drop a cent, but we're not going to drop much. I think we're fine. But outside of that, this is kind of that thing. How bad is it going to get in the U.S.? And, and believe it or not, we have our second story is actually about the U.S. But before we do, let's get quickly caught up in the chat. Vic says Salesforce got punished, but rebounding. Oh, that's good. That's always good to hear. Abalash says Tech Savvy is now offering fiber internet via Bell lines. This might impact Bell going into the future. It's kind of one of those things here. With Tech Savvy, I've used them before. I really didn't like them, to be honest. Now, when I used them, it was my roommate at the time. She would do anything to save money, so she went to Tech Savvy instead of instead of Rogers. And anytime there was an issue, and this was the problem with Tech Savvy, and this was in Scarborough. Anytime there was an issue with the internet, it would take them forever, and to get somebody out to look at it. And sometimes I'd be without internet for like 3 weeks to almost a month. There's a couple of times. So that kind of spoiled me a little bit on Tech Savvy, but maybe it's better in your area. But at least the experiences I had weren't great with them. Abalash says, anyone used Pine Mortgage? Wealthsimple clients get discount based on how much they have with Wealthsimple. Well, that's not too shabby, but I've never used them. I don't know if anybody else has. All right. No Scratch says, thanks for the explanation. It's no surprise that Royal Bank has negative free cash flow right now, probably due to HSBC. Yeah, that's definitely one of the reasons for sure. And Al Bundy says, I thought all of Canada was fiber only. Is it not? No. With Canada, it's kind of an interesting thing. So if you live oh man, all right, I want to do this. I really, really, really want to do this. All right, I know it completely messes things up, but that's fine. Give me a second here. Holy cow, where is my whiteboard? There it is. All right, we got my whiteboard. I am going to share it. This is going to mess everything up. I'll have to move everything back, but that's okay. This is, I think, an interesting, your question is really, really interesting. So I'm just sharing that extra screen. There we go. Bang. Whoops. There. All right. And all right, I'm going to get rid of me for a second. And I am going to get rid of Mr. 4.75. All right, now let's see if I can bring me back. There we go. All right, so let's scroll down here. Oops, we'll scroll down here. That was from a previous stream. All right, I am going to draw Holy Banana Bread. I am going to attempt to draw Canada. Oh, God. This is going to go badly, folks. This is going to go badly. All right, so let's see here. Oh, gosh. All right. All right. All the islands up in there. I'm not worried about the islands. I'm not going to be worried about Alaska. Okay. Whoops. Here, we'll draw some lakes in here. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Oh. And there we go. Draw a little bit of Newfoundland. Okay. This is a horrible, horrible representation of Canada, but it's fairly accurate. Well, in a non-accurate sense. It's accurate in a way. Okay. Oh, gosh. All right. I'm going to start putting some cities here in. All right. So we got, right here, we got like, we got Halifax. Yeah. Over here, you got like Moncton. Over here, you got like, you got Quebec and Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, all of these fun stations. Let's put in like Winnipeg and Saskatchewan, Alberta. Sorry, Alberta. That would be like Calgary. We'll put in Vancouver. I didn't draw the island, but Victoria is out there. So this is kind of, now there is Edmonton up like there. But when you look at major Canadian cities, here's the thing. Let's come in and we'll do a blue line. But look at this. It's mostly a straight line. We're all hugging the U.S. border because it's cold. We want to get closer to the warmth. Plus, it's, this is where all of our, I'll put, oops. Let's just put here. Come on. Oh, seriously? All right, here. There we go. USA. We'll just put that down there. But they're our major trading partner. For that reason, we do tend to hug the line. So when it comes to our internet, most of the people along here are going to have two different things. They're going to either have cable internet, so coaxial cable through your cable companies, or you're going to be having fiber. So you're going to have, let's just go to letters here. So here you'll have coaxial. So you'll either have coaxial, or you may have fiber, or you may actually have ADS. Oops. Come on. Yeah, there we go. Or you may have ADSL via phone lines. Or now that's mostly going to be all along this line. But when you're all the way up here into the fringes, we have a lot of people up there still have dial-up. Now, one of the things that is starting to happen as well is I'll just put SpaceX. So with SpaceX, we are starting to see, whoops, let's get rid of that. We are starting to see a little bit of satellite coverage up there. But this is the thing. One of the reasons, like the Canadian internet, like our backbone is really, really good. It's one of the best in the world. And that's because it's a straight friggin' line from coast to coast. Now, there will be, of course, in this case here, you will have something that will come up here to Edmonton, go through Red Deer to get up to Edmonton. So you will have a little bit. But everybody else up here, there might be some ADSL in some of the larger communities, but a lot of the rural areas are still using dial-up. So dial-up modem, if you guys remember that, there's people still using them. But a lot of them are now starting to look at things like SpaceX because it's so much better it's an easier thing to use. So as a result, like I said, we get a lot of different things. But here's the beautiful thing. When a new technology does come out and we want to upgrade our main backbone of the internet, it's an easy job. I mean, that's a long chain, but at least it's all in one straight line. So it's pretty simple that way. And that's one of the reasons that our internet is in really good shape. I know there's places in the US where the internet is in absolute crap shape, all because of you got to go everywhere. So with the US, oh, let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, why not? In for a pound, in for a penny, right? Oh, dear God. No, we're going to go black again. All right, so we're going to now, let's grab the US here. Oh, well, I guess we are. All right. And we'll come down here. We'll give the US its, all right. Anyway, so with the US, that. To me, that's good enough. We're not going for accuracy here, folks. But for the US, you got cities. Let's see, you got like Miami, Orlando. I mean, you got like, New York, Boston, all of these things. Philadelphia, Washington, Indianapolis out here. You got Pocatello, Idaho, Los Angeles. You got San Diego. I think San Diego. Yeah, I think it's San Diego, Los Angeles. I think San Francisco's the one further down, or it's one of the ways. Anyway, we'll put in Colorado, Salt Lake City. So anyway, you got a whole bunch. So when you look at the backbone in the US, well, oops, let's go with a different color. We'll go with yellow. You're coming like this. You're coming like this. Oh, you're coming like this. You're going 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 like this, like this. It goes pretty much everywhere. So you have more of this big web of, and over here, there's other little cities too, like Phoenix, Nevada, all of these things. So you get more of this web. So when you say the World Wide Web, it looks more like a web in the US. So for that reason, it's a lot harder to maintain. It's a lot harder to upgrade. So that's why in some areas in the US, you can sometimes get some pretty spotty internet. But once again, SpaceX up here. Whoops. Oh, I'm still on the line. Oh, that's fine. SpaceX definitely going to make things better for a lot of people, whether it be SpaceX or any other satellite provider. Okay. Holy banana bread. All right, let's remove that. We'll bring me back up. All right, we'll go back to news. There we go. All right, that wasn't that painless. We did it. We did it. Let me get back here because I couldn't see the comments while I was doing that. So anyway, look at this one comment, and I build a friggin' map. So all right, we'll go from there. Vic said, thoughts on ultra basic WestJet fee where no carry-on is allowed? I think it's a good idea. Like, for example, if you're doing a lot of the shorter flights, so Montreal, Toronto, or Ottawa, Toronto, a lot of times you don't really have, like when the last time I flew from Ottawa to Toronto, I had no carry-on. So if I could get a discount for that, I'm fine with that. So yeah, no, I think it makes sense. Now, I've heard that they could make a lot of airlines are sort of almost thinking of a model where you don't get any carry-on at all, but you have to buy it. So you have to buy each piece of thing that you want to bring on. So we'll have to see how that works. We'll have to see how that turns out. Abalash says, I don't think so. Most rural places don't have fiber. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. The drawing looks like a turtle eating something. Oh, yeah. Okay, I just had to glance over. I still have the drawing up on the other screen. Drawing looks like a turkey. Oh, dear gosh. Banana non-smoking bread. There we go. I think it looks like a squirrel. Wow. Okay, let's get to the next news story. I probably lost about 5 people on the stream while I was drawing. They're like, wait a minute. If I wanted to watch Bob Ross, I'd go to a different channel. Yeah, exactly. I'm not that calming of a person. If anything, it's like, some of the energy would be like, yeah, it's not Bob. I don't have Bob Ross energy. All right. Holy cow. All right. So I mentioned that we were also looking at the US for what's going on in regards to the rate cuts. So we had a jobs report that came out, well, Friday, and the US added a whole bunch of jobs, 272,000 jobs. Now, the only kind of silver lining is they did have their unemployment, it rose up to 4% from 3.9% in April. So that's not too shabby, but that jobs number really, 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 really hot. They were expecting 180,000 jobs. So yeah, they almost beat that by 100,000. So that's not good. The Fed is not going to like it. So right now they're in a battle, of course, to bring down inflation, and they have been looking for, well, slow but steady cool down in the entire labor market, and they're not getting that. Um, they're just not getting it. In fact, Friday's data pretty much showed the exact opposite. So the exact opposite to what they were hoping to see. It's not good. It's not good. So when we, you guys still going on about the turtles? I saw this one. I had to say it. North America is called Turtle Island. Oh dear. Um, I need to get a tablet that I can draw on. I can just sort of live stream in. So instead of doing it with a mouse, now if I was doing this freehand with actual a tablet, I would have had a better looking country. But it is what it is. It is what it is. It got the point across. That's the whole point. Um, so yeah, this is not a good. It's not a good jobs thing. So it's one more nail in the coffin of a possible 2024 rate cut in on the U.S. side. So I still think they're going to do one, probably much later in the year. I would even say after the election. I don't think they'll do it before the election. I think they'll wait till after. But we'll have to see. Things could change. They do have they have another CPI coming out pretty darn soon. I think this week actually coming up. So we'll have to see if that at least is going to make things a little bit better, a little bit better. Now in Canada, we also had job reports. They dropped Friday as well. Here, well, pretty much as expected. We added 27,000 new jobs. That sounds like a lot, but the reality is they were mostly all part-time jobs, and they were all pretty much regional, as in Ontario. So look at it this way. So sometimes an employer, if they got rid of a full-time job and replaced it with two part-time jobs, that can sometimes look like we added a job, which is kind of funny. Even though it technically could add up to being the exact same thing when it comes to overall productivity and such. Holy banana bread. But yeah, that's the jobs report. It's not doing well in Canada. Our unemployment, like I said, it's almost at the 6.2%. So that definitely supported, like, this supports the rate cut. So I will give them that. This one does. So it's not a situation where we cut the rate and then we got a hot job report in Canada. Now we got pretty much exactly what we were expecting, and maybe a little bit worse than the headline sort of looks like. All right. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's hilarious. All right. Let's move to our next news story, and we got TD drama. More TD drama. Oh dear. So now TD is in the situation where all that money laundering, the fines could be reaching up as high as $4 billion. Last week when we were talking about them, it was up as high as $3 billion. But yeah, they've had some new allegations that have surfaced down in Florida. It's on the map, but no. So basically, what happened is, so a TD branch employee in Florida, they were taking a bunch of $200 bribes. So that's all it costs, is $200 if you want to get if you want to have help getting your millions of dollars over to Colombia. So basically, this employee for $200 was helping them skirt the anti-money laundering defenses of the bank. So on the bright side, this person is no longer an employee of TD. But yeah, this isn't good. This isn't good. It's certainly a thing for concern in the States, and they're looking at it, and there's going to be more fines because of it. So as I said, fines now up to $4 million. Up here on this side of the border, there is a class action lawsuit that was filed on Tuesday. And this is in Ontario. And it was all basically over the money laundering deficiencies. So they're basically, the lawsuit is basically saying, hey, this bank is not, they don't have a proper defense against money laundering. And is impacting the share price. And that's hurting us financially because they're holders. So they're trying. They allege that the bank misrepresented systematic deficiency in its anti-laundering controls and how those failures would affect its U.S. operations. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I'm hoping that there's no new bombshells when it comes to TD Bank. Hopefully, that's it. We don't have to deal with it anymore. Hopefully. But we'll have to see. Uh-oh. It's a Mr. Map. Oh, dear. That was a little too shrill. Ian says, heard the tellers were being bribed with $200 gift cards. That's a good deal for the drug dealers. Should have gotten at least $1,000. That's a thing, right? That is absolutely the thing. If I'm going to break the law to help people launder their money, I'm gonna ask for more. I'm not gonna say, you got a $200 Timmy's card? Sure. No. It's like if you're putting your life in your hands. You're probably gonna lose your job when you get caught. Who knows? You could even have some criminal charges. So you want some money. You want some good money. It's like, look, I'll do this as long until I get caught. But I want 6 figures. You guys are drug dealers. Come on, that's a lot of. You guys got access to so much money. It's a drop in the bucket to you. So yeah, that's what I would say. Friggin' is in the house. Our money washes good, but still not good in the dryer. Well, Canadian money is actually, ever since they changed the composition of Canadian money, it's supposed to be completely washerproof. But I could see the dryer and the heat of the dryer having a big issue with it. But I imagine, I'm sure everybody here has accidentally put, in the olden days, a bill through the wash. And then you're like looking at it and trying to peel it open. And it's like, can I still use this somehow? Oh, dear. Yeah, it happens. It happens. Friggin says it's usually a $35 per dollar and up for laundry services. There we go. See, here's somebody who's put thought into setting up some money laundering for sure. All right. We got Al Bundy says that class action lawsuit is just going to hurt the shareholders' pockets. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. But I don't think it's not getting the same headline as the whole money laundering thing either. So Ian says, friggin', I was going to say something similar. Guys told me it's about the same as paying taxes. Exactly. It's like you are the new tax man, whatever. So yeah, it's like, all right, I want my cut. Think of it as the money laundering tax. So, oh well. Oh gosh, I definitely need a sip of coffee, folks. That is good. That's really, really, really good. Okay. All right, let's get to our next news story. All right, here we go. All right. Uh-oh. We got a misspelling here that got snuck through. That should be streaming tax, not stramming tax. But, oh well. The government taxed the E and they took it. That's my story, and I'm going to stick to it. Holy dear. Holy banana bread. I can't believe it, but that's fine. So the CRTC, they are looking to create a new 5% tax on all the big streamers. So we're talking like Netflix, Disney Plus, and you're thinking video, also audio sites, as Spotify as well. So they're looking to get 5%. And the plan is to basically give this money, drop it into a fund that would be for Canadian content creation. So the plan is to, they say if this goes through, that the plan would be to inject about 200 million annually into Canadian film, television, music, and local news, and go towards the creation of content by underrepresented underrepresented. There we go. Underrepresented groups. It took a while to say that. That's for sure. My tongue underrepresented the R for sure. Netflix, which has lobbied hard against the law. Now they've said, look, this is a dumb law. We've already spent more than $5 billion on Canadian productions in just the last 5 years. The investments that we have put into Canada have dwarfed this puny little 5% tax. Don't do it. So we'll have to see whether the CRTC can get that through or not. But they want to do it. I mean, I'm okay with Canadian content. I like some Canadian content. Well, I like good Canadian content. Sometimes there's things that get pushed through just for the sake of being Canadian content that are just a big pile of doo-doo. I mean, there's some really bad Canadian content out there too. But yeah, this is just what they're looking at. We'll have to see. I have a feeling the CRTC will probably get what they're looking for on this one. But we'll leave it at that. 9 says, I only launder banana bread. And Friggin says, try and submit a 1099 to government as a cocaine connoisseur to pay tax on it. I don't know if that would go over very well. They might send someone to your house. Friggin says, digital content tax. All to the CBC. There we go. I mean, now it doesn't sound like it's going directly to the CBC, but I would want to, of course, see once this gets turned, because I mean, they're going to have to go through the House with this. I would like to see what and the problem is, here's the problem. Even if that's all that they wanted and let's say everybody in the House was okay with it. The current government would take it and then they would add other crap to it just to push it through on this. So I would want to see the fine print. I would want to see the fine print to see what's going through on this. Al says, and the streamers will pass that on to us. Of course they will. Of course they will. Some of them already are. I think it's Max in the States is going to be upping their monthly pretty darn soon. I heard something about that. Bismarcky says, reruns of the Beachcombers. Well, there you go. But here's the thing, though. I mean, that's technically content that's already there. So it should be new content. They could have Beachcombers, the next generation. I guess. Maybe it would be like the BC coast. There's been a nuclear war. All the trees are radioactive. And the only people who survived were the offspring of Relic, who seemed to be immune to radiation. And they're just trying to collect wood and ship it to the States or something. I don't know. We'll leave that one alone. Friggin says, you will never see where it goes in the end. Of course not. Of course not. Sorry, Jersky's in the house. Hello, Jersky. Good afternoon. And Friggin says, does this include a tax on our internet and video games bought? It did not specify anything about video games, but don't give them ideas. Don't say it too loud, Friggin, because they'll do it. They'll do it. Yeah, it's fun. All right. Let's get our next story out of the way. All right, a border strike. So we got a little bit of an issue going on. So there currently is a looming strike that's coming between the Canadian Border Service Workers and the Treasury Board of Canada. So we got about 9,000 border agents that want to go on strike. And this, of course, if it happens, it's going to grind the Canada-US border to, to a slow crawl for sure. And not just the Canada-US. This is also international because this strike would be happening at airports, at ports, at railroad facilities. So it's across any way to enter the country. That's where we're going to look at. Now, some of you might be going, wait a minute. Those border people are essential workers. They can't go on strike. That is 100% true. So what those people will do. So basically 90% are essential and they cannot go on strike, but they'll go to what's called work to rule. And trust me, that's not a good thing. So when you look at a custom agent, they have a lot of questions that they can ask. They don't have to ask them all, but they can ask as many as they want. And that's what they're going to start doing. So with a work to rule, they basically say, okay, what is every single thing I'm allowed to do? And they're going to do it all. So you will pull up to the border and they will ask you about everything. They'll be asking questions about explosives. They'll be asking you questions about your criminal history, your non-criminal. They'll ask you everything under the sun. Then they will also do a lot more inspections, thorough inspections. So they'll, especially with the truck drivers. So this is not a good thing. So they can basically take a trip. So normally right now, a truck can get through the Canadian border pretty darn fast. Not with this underway. If they have a work to rule going on, you're going to have major lineups. And a lot of truckers, when they get to the border, they might be looking at like a 5-hour ordeal before they get through the border. And it's not 5 hours of them inspecting their truck, but when you look at all of the slowdown and all of the trucks in front of them, it could be easily a 5-hour ordeal. So not a good thing. Now, the last time we had a strike from this group of folks was back in 2021. Now, if you guys remember, that's still in the pandemic, and we still don't have as much traffic moving through the border. Even then, the government, well, not even so much the government, but they got it resolved really, really fast. So the Treasury Board of Canada, they settled pretty darn fast because this is a big thing. Now, currently, right now, with our border, here's the thing. We've got $3.9 billion in goods that are crossing that border every single day. So not in a week, in a day. So $3.9 billion. So, it would not be a good situation. So what do these workers want? So they want similar levels of pay as other law enforcement workers. So they want to be paid the same as the RCMP. They want new full-time hires for there's a lot of vacant positions. So they want full-time people into those positions, and they want more protections against the self-serve technology that's being developed now and used at many airports. So they're saying, yeah, this is what we want. Now, they have been, as of Friday afternoon, they've been in a position to legally go on to begin their strike or work to rule for most of them. It hasn't happened yet. They're still negotiating, so we'll have to see how that goes through the weekend. But this is something that could happen as early as tomorrow. So we'll have to see how that is going to turn out. All right. Terry says, to the CBC, doo-doo means does times 2. There, oh gosh, probably. Friggin says, a lot of OG new gaming systems are digital download only. That's why I asked. Yeah, a lot of them are. And I know there have been changes. Before, you used to be able to do digital downloads without paying a tax. But now when you do them, and this was a change that was made a couple of years ago, now you do get charged. You get charged GST and everything when you are, buying it. Or even if you have like a monthly subscription to something like WoW, you're getting hit with tax you never used to. Friggin says explosives. So you have to declare the Taco Bell you ate last night. Here's the thing. If it's work to rule, so let's just say if I was a truck driver and I knew what they were doing, I would kind of almost be snarky and say, "Look, let me give you some funny answers, and we'll drag this out as long as we can for you." And that would be a funny answer for sure. Now, of course, there's probably some custom guards that probably wouldn't be as appreciative to it. So that could be, yeah, that could be bad. Could be bad. Nine says, "Did you raid or PvP in WoW?" A little bit of both, depending on when and where. Um, I know one of the big things I used to do in WoW was gold farming. So I was one of those people that, I had the I had the $1 million to drop on a Brutosaur on the first day of launch of Battle for Azeroth. So yeah, it was just one of those things. I used to just like buying and selling stuff and making a ton of gold. That was my biggest priority. And I still had fun in dungeons, raids, PvP as well. But for the most part, I would love just going and finding rare things in the game. And then sell them. That was always fun. And when I was doing that, I used to make so much gold that I didn't get charged any tax because I could just use gold in game to buy game time so that it wasn't taxed. So just something to keep in mind. All right. And our next story. Here we go. We have a climate fund. So adapting to climate change. So, oh dear. So the government, they're setting aside $530 million over the next 8 years for a climate change fund. It's for cities to use to adapt to the changing climate. So interesting thing though, we're looking at 530 million. So a 2020 analysis that was done for the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, and it was also a joint group with the Insurance Bureau of Canada. They basically earmarked and said, yeah, the local governments need $5.3 billion a year to adapt to climate change. $5.3 billion a year. They're getting 530 million over the next 8 years. It has to be divvied out amongst all of them. So, or at least the ones that will apply. So under this initiative, local governments can apply for up to $1 million to help cover adaptation project costs and up to $70,000 for risk assessments and feasibility studies. Eligible projects. So these are the type of things that you're allowed to use this money on. Let's see. Building of artificial wetlands, riverbank restoration, installing shade to address heat issues, so planting trees, or even helping set up community centers, libraries, or other city buildings to become cooling centers during a heat wave. Oh my God. This one is just, I look at what they're doing here and I'm like, this one's a little crazy. I mean, it's not going to help. It's really not going to help. That's not really a good initiative. To me, a good initiative against climate change is like maybe, looking at places where there's flooding and building burns or, little dams or walls to prevent damage, or, maybe going to areas where wildfires are prevalent and trying to fireproof some of the communities in that area. It's going to take a lot more. I think this isn't even a Band-Aid. Like, this is like nothing. This is like nothing. To me, this is it's just a throwing away. I mean, it's like, okay, we're going to plant a tree so you can sit in the shade on days when it's too hot. Like, seriously, really? This is the best the government can do? Oh my gosh. This one is just, I looked at this story and I was just like, oh my gosh. This is one of these situations where I would have been happier if they did nothing, opposed to throwing something like this together. So not happy about this one personally, but the government seems keen on planting those shade trees. So, hey, if you get a shade tree in your area, fantastic. Enjoy it. Holy cow. Wow. Sorry, that one just sort of baffles me. I have to have a drink of coffee after that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that one's just crazy All right. Al Bundy says, I had 50 million gold in WoW before I quit in 2022. Ooh, that's nice. That's a good amount. That is a good amount. So that was spread over multiple accounts because like the cap cut. So you can only hold 10 million on one character. So and Nine says I quit WoW right after the Wrath expansion. A lot of people did. A lot of people did. Now a lot of people have gone back because they've done like classic WoW and all of that fun stuff. Al says 530 million is not enough to do anything. Yeah, exactly. It's in a sense, and keep in mind, it's 530 million for all of these communities. So $1 million. So $1 million. Here you go. Here you go, Toronto. Here's $1 million. Solve climate change now. It's just not, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's also not really, the plan itself sucks. It absolutely sucks. It's a situation where if this was a government that had a chance to get back in and they dropped this pile of doo-doo on us, they'd lose votes. I'm sure they would lose votes for that. So we'll just leave it. We'll leave it at that because I'm like, I don't want to, I don't want to take a political stance against the government. I'm just saying this is dumb, very dumb. So we'll, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Let's, we do have, oh gosh, I hope we have another story because I don't want to leave it at that. And we do, we do. Oh, more failings in the government, failing with cybercrime. So a new report has come out from the Auditor General of Canada, and they have stated that our federal agencies and law enforcement are not equipped to deal with the rising threat of cybercrime. So some of the key points out of the report: the RCMP is chronically understaffed in their cybercrime division. The CRTC and the CSE, that's the Canadian Security Establishment, they do not have the power to address any cybercrime issues that come up in their jobs. The other major issue is that the overall process of reporting cybercrime is difficult at best. So difficult at best. One main issue highlighted by the report was poor coordination, which basically resulted in many reported incidents and never making it to where they needed to go. So a lot of crime just kind of got away with it because it wasn't getting to the right place and nobody was doing anything. The public safety minister said a revised federal cybersecurity strategy will arrive this year. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. This new strategy could implement some of the report's recommendations, including improvements to victim notification procedures and the RCMP's IT system. So yeah, absolutely. So this one, I'm not entirely blaming the government on it, but here you go. Here's a report. They've highlighted it. Now do something about it. Get this taken care of, because cybercrime is on the rise. It's not going down. It's only going to get worse. AI, this is the dark side of AI. It's gonna make it more difficult. So if anything, we should be looking at increasing our efforts in that area, not having lackluster results, kind of the way that we have right now. All right. We'll finish off here with the crypto corner. All right. I got one story. They're really kind of a flat week overall for Bitcoin. But BlackRock. So BlackRock is expecting their Ethereum ETF to get the final go-ahead in June. They've also reported that they have a customer that has already pre-bought 400,000 shares of this ETF. So we're looking at basically somebody dropped $10 million already on the ETF that isn't up and running yet. So we'll have to see. It looks like everything is a go-ahead. I'd be shocked if we didn't have the Ethereum ETF by the end of the month. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And we'll, of course, report on it as we come through. So next week on the Canadian calendar, nothing really of importance. It's going to be a pretty slow week. But in the US, as I mentioned earlier, they do on Wednesday have the CPI, and they also have the PPI coming out on Thursday. So we'll get a good look at inflation once again in the US and see how things are going. Earnings wise, we got a couple of good ones. Dollarama is going to be dropping their earnings this week to see how they have done. I have a feeling they'll exceed their expectations. Enghouse, so ENGH, they also have earnings, and ADF Group, so DRX, which is a company that I just added to the 0 to 100K challenge. I normally don't go into the US, but I will for this one. GameStop is having their earnings call this time around this week. So we'll have to see what kind of drama we continue to get on the whole GameStop side. There we go. I keep calling it GameStop instead of stop. So we'll have to see how that all works out. It could be very, very interesting. All right. This is fantastic. All right. I'm just going to get rid of that. We're going to go back to a full screen. Bang. The news is done. The news is done. This is fantastic. I love it. So now it's just all you guys. It's you guys and us. So we'll have to just talk about whatever. 9 says, I cleared all the raid content up to Wrath. No need to buy Classic. There you go. There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Trevor says, late again. Stopwatch Blue Hand Timer. Oh, Trevor. Oh, well. You're not that late. You're not that late. Just a little late. You can always catch the beginning after the show. Terry says, well, honestly, Jimmy Buffett once said, you're in the shade because you planted a tree long ago. So perhaps that is the present government logic. Yeah, I get it. There we go. Yeah, just plant a tree. It's it's funny. All right. And we've got a Meta Bimba, another new name I've never seen before. I recently came across YouTuber Passive Income Investing. The host invests everything in covered call ETF products, very similar to my style. Anything wrong with that style? What are your thoughts? Okay. It depends on your portfolio goals. So if you are an income-focused investor, it's a valid form of investing. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. As long as you're going in with open mind and you kind of get an idea. So when you're looking at overall high income, you want to be reminiscent of a few things. So for example, one of the favorites that a lot of the high income investors love are split cores. So split core stocks. Some of them are fine all the time, but there's a lot of them that when the market actually starts going down, oh, excuse me, I definitely need a drink here. No, that's better. There's a lot of them that when the market is in a bear market, and well, I'll show you. Let me show you. I've shown this many, many times, but we'll do it again. Here, let's, and eek. Give me a second here. There we go. Now it's set up the way I like it. All right. The map of North America once again, folks. It'll be appearing on the globe every night this week. We'll leave that be. All right. All right, we're gonna go over to TMX Money. Let's see. Let's go to DFN. So DFN is a good example. So this is the dividend 15 split core. So when you look at it, it's like, okay, look at this. You've got this insane yield, 22.556%. So yeah, if you're a dividend investor, you're like, oh my God, that's fantastic. Well, here's the caveat. The caveat for this is, first of all, we'll take a look here at the last 3 years. All right, so you can see that this stock was doing okay. Then it slipped big time. So this is kind of moving towards, we had a bear market in this vicinity right in here. But now it's starting to recover again. But let's take a look and see what happened to their dividends. When we go into, you'll see all of these little spaces here. These are months. So in this part of 2023, they just didn't pay. They're like, yeah, we're shutting our dividend down right now. Things are rough. Because what a split core will do, normally they'll use, they'll pay you if they can. And then if they're a little short, they'll then use return of capital. So you'll get some of your money back. So basically some of your principal back. That's what you're getting. So one of the reasons one of the things I always say with these is to make sure that you're holding them in a registered account, because otherwise, any company that's giving you return of capital, it lowers your adjusted cost base. So if you sell them later on, your capital gains will be bigger, so you'll be paying more tax. That's just kind of where that boils down to. But you don't have to worry about that in a registered account. So your TFSA, your RRSP, those accounts, that's not a big issue. But you do have to be aware of this. So when I look at something like this, I'm like, okay, if the market is rough, I'm not going to invest. Now, right now, the market's better. The market's probably going to be fine for the foreseeable future. So I would at this point say, yeah, they're fine. And the beautiful thing is, because you don't normally see this, like normally, let's come back out here again. I'm going to go to 5 years. So normally they tend to be pretty much level, like they don't move up and down a lot normally. Then they had the bear market. So now people who got in at this when it was down at like 3 something, and now it's come back up. It's fantastic. They've had the dividend. They've also had growth. Now, the potential here for this stock is it is a stock that likes to sit up around $7. This could go back up. This could go up more. So there is potential here with this stock. But if the economy starts pushing, like the stock market economy, if it starts moving back towards a bear, like an actual bear market, then you want to get out. So you want to have an exit strategy or a pause strategy, because you don't want to be holding this for 6 months where it's paying you no dividends at all. So that's kind of one of those things with this that I like to sort of keep in mind. But where this is kind of good is, so let's say if you're older and you've got a retirement portfolio, and your goal of that portfolio is one thing, you just want income out of it. Well, then, yeah, I would put DFN in it. I'd have no problem with that, but I would move it out if it looked like we were heading towards another bear market at any point. I would have no problem doing that. So that's the thing. I mean, that's if you're managing it yourself. But yeah, so other covered call ETFs, they're fantastic. I mean, for that purpose, because they have that the income purpose is really, really good. Because what you're getting, and the reason you're getting so much money with these covered calls, is that because they're writing covered calls on it, and so that premium is going into their payout pot. So all the premiums they're getting. So that's one of the reasons that they can boost that money up so high, and that's fantastic. But the best place for those, once again, is if you're retiring, if you can have ideally when you retire, if you can have your TFSA maxed out and then you switch it all over to these income stocks, wow, you can get this nice tax-free income coming out that's not going to fuddle with any of your supports. So let's say, for example, you don't have a lot of income, but you do have a ton of income coming out of your TFSA, but none of that counts. So you could be in a situation where you've got a whole bunch of money flowing from your TFSA, and because it doesn't count, you could even be in a situation where you might qualify for the GIS as well as your regular OAS. So you could technically have a lot of money flowing as in retirement. So you could be a little rich senior wearing a little gold watch and just sort of cruising down the avenue, just doing senior things. I think seniors cruise down the avenue. I don't know, but or play bingo. I don't know. We'll have to. I'm just saying it's a good opportunity, I think. So yes, I think those are fantastic. What you have to be aware of, though, is just be aware of some of the shortfalls and be aware of things like return on capital, and actually still do your due diligence. Just because, for example, you go to bigdividends.com and they're like, oh my God, best thing ever. Well, don't take their word for it. Look at them yourself. Take a look, see what they've been doing total return wise. And some of the new ones, like I actually have a video that I just did a couple of weeks ago. And it was all on some of the leveraged covered call, because that's kind of one of these things that are starting to pick up in a lot of popularity. I think those are ideal. Things like QQCL. I think they're definitely ideal for an income portfolio. All right. Jersky says, DFN is doing better than all my growth stocks. Yeah. Right now, yeah, absolutely. Al Bundy says, I have a question. Can you buy FXAIX and SWPPX from National Bank Brokerage, and are there an extra fee to buy them? I don't know. But give me a second here. I don't know if I can find out right now where it's after hours, but I can try. Give me a second. I'm going to actually log in. All right, again, give me a new window. I just had to reboot my system just before the stream because the camera wasn't picking up. So I lost a bunch of my screens. I didn't have time to get them all set up the way I like, but all right. But this is a pretty simple one to get into. All right. Let's see if it works. Oops, there we go. All right, I am in, and we'll go. I'm going to go right into the 0 to 100K challenge window. There we go. Let's bring it over. All right. So first of all, let's try this first one that you mentioned here. So FXAIX. All right. All right. Let's see here. And that's its ticker, just to make sure. Because I'm not seeing it. So that may be a no. Maybe if that's its official ticker. I'm just going to try something here. AIX as well. AIXI. So yeah, double check, make sure that's their ticker. Well, let me try the other one here as well. SWPPF, but no PPX. Interesting. Oh, no, here it is. Schwab S&P 500 Index Fund. Let me take a look. Bid ask. I'm not seeing anything here that says that there would be a charge on it, but you can definitely get the SW. This is the right one. Yeah, SWPPX. So that one, yes, SWPPX. FXAIX, it did not come up. So that is all I can say on that one. But Schwab Capital Trust. Interesting. All right. Patricia is in the house with a hi, everyone. And Al says, I don't understand why everyone loves dividend investing. It doesn't make sense to me unless you are retired. Yeah, no, it's that thing. It's funny. This is kind of the way I see a lot of people, not retirees. A lot of people when they first start investing, they buy the stocks that they know about. It's like, oh, I bought McDonald's, I bought Coke, or in Canada, it's like, I bought TD. Now I own a part of my bank. Then comes the dividends, and they're like, what? Free money? And I think it happens to a lot of people. A lot of people get really enamored by those dividends. And then they do things like sometimes they'll do things like this. Let me show you. So this is TMX money. Sometimes they may stumble on something like this. And let me just pull it up here. Like a top dividend list. And it's like, oh, top dividends in Canada. Let's look. Oh, CEUH. Holy banana bread, 61.16%. And it's only $22. I'm going to buy it. And that's what they'll do. But now, if you actually look at this. All right, let's take a look. So this here is something, it's brand new. It seems to be insanely volatile. Quarterly dividend, 2.5 cents per share. Well, 2.5 cents per share. Well, I guess they're only $22, but still, that seems really low to me for 59. Let's take a look here. If we go to their key data. All right. Oh, look at this. So their dividend seems to be all over the place. So what the banana bread's going on here? That's what I would be wanting to know. So a lot of people will get so enamored that they won't do any, even just a quick look. A lot of times they'll just go to this list and they'll be like, okay, I'm going to get some of that. I'm going to get some of the Zoomer Media, the CBLT, the CIBC International Equity Index ETF, and whoo, I'm just going to make bank. Well, not necessarily. A lot of these really high ones, like as we looked at this first one, it's a little bit hokey. Like you don't know what you're going to get. It seems to me that 1 month. So it looks to me like look at this. Let's go back here one more time. Whoops, right here. It looks to me like that once they actually paid out that amount, that dividend was claiming, but this is not 2.5 cents. No, that is nowhere near 60%, or 3.7 cents. Even the 9 cents is not near that. Like, think of it. Look at it this way: Canoe gives out 10 cents, and they're worth $14. This one's worth 20, and 9 cents they're saying is 49, or 50, or 60%. No, it's not even close. So this one, for some reason, they have everything set on this, but it looks to me like that was an aberration. And because of that, it's showing up incorrectly on that list at number 1, because they had that one little thing. I bet you a few more months of these low ones, and that'll be corrected, and you won't see it at the top of that list. So you want to always be looking into things when you're looking at higher dividends. But the whole point of that part is that people get enamored into the high dividends, and they're like, yeah. But after a while, they eventually start to discover that, okay, what is better, a high dividend or something that has both dividends and a crazy growth on it? And that tends to be really interesting. So let's take a look. For example, we'll look at a very basic stock. We'll look at CNR. So this is Canadian National Railway. So we'll pull it up. We'll just pull up the 1 year. So, this is coming out of the bear market, but, since basically last October, they've gone from $144 to $170.91. Now, give me a second here. Let me show you this. I'm going to bring up another page. I hope you guys don't mind Excel. All right. So this here, this is a worksheet that I use when I'm calculating stuff for videos. So I'm going to delete all of that, and we're going to do CNR. So let's take a look at CNR. All right, I'm going to fill this in off the screen here for a moment, but I'll bring it back. All right, so their current value is $170.91. We're just going to look at the 1 year. So, all right, at the beginning of this year, they were at $152.93. All right, I'm putting that in, 152.93. All right, here we go. All right, so I'll bring this back here right now. So right now, for the last year, they have a return on investment of 11.76%. So that already is higher than a lot of dividend stocks. But CNR has a dividend as well. Let's take a look at that. So we'll go to key data. All right, and here's the dividend that they've been giving out. So 0.845. We have one the end of June, so we haven't received that one yet. So we won't count it because we haven't received it. So we'll only count the one that we have received. So 84.5 cents. Let's bring that over here. 84.5. There we go. Whoops. 84.5. There we go. All right. So now let's take a look and see what the total return is. So in this case here, it's not a lot bigger, but it's 12.31%. So when you look at a bigger stock like a lot of covered, like some covered calls will beat this. Yeah, absolutely. But as you can see, when one of these stocks is doing better. So we'll give you another example. Let's look at, all right, let's look at this one, HPS.A. All right, so we're going to go with an extreme one, but, and we'll look at just the last year. All right, HPS.A. So this here is Hammond Power Solutions. All right, and we want to look at the 1 year. They have a very small dividend. I will tell you this right now. Now they peaked. Now they've come back down a little bit, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. Let's just look at what we are in still for the year. So they opened at $47. I'll put that right in here. They opened at 47. Their current price right now is 107.72. All right. So let's look at that return on investment. 129.19%. That absolutely blows every single one out of the water. And this is without even adding in their dividend. So right now, they have had one dividend, because that hasn't happened yet, of 15 cents. Now look at this. They actually did increase. They almost doubled their dividend. So they're going to have a bigger dividend next time around. But yeah, in this case here, we got 15 cents. So our total return, 129.51% for this year. So just something to keep in mind. It's kind of really cool when you look at it this way and you start to see that, holy cow, there are ways to make a lot more money than that income. But that's why when you're in retirement and you're looking for the income, and that's all you want is that income, then it makes a lot of sense. It makes a whole lot of sense, actually. All right. That was kind of cool. You guys get to see one of my spreadsheets that I work with. So that is very cool. All right, let's come back here to this for the moment. All right, Metabima says, none of mine are split core. My average distributions are slightly over 11% and very diversified. Thanks for your feedback. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. The tickers are correct. Perfect. And, oh, it's from the USA. Yeah, so I imagine they're probably both from the USA, to be honest. They are both, yeah, all right. I've been holding div.to for a few months now. Do you have any thoughts on div? I love div. So div is a diversified dividend. They hold royalties. So what they're holding is, for example, Mr. Lube. They have Mr. Lube, and I think there's some kind of a funky restaurant as well. They have also Air Miles. They hold that royalty as well. So they're a royalty company. They're based out of Vancouver. They're very small, but they always tend to do really well. Like right now, they're down a tiny bit, but that's fine. It's just like add to them. Like I look at this as that stock that, when I've got a few dollars left over that I really want to do something with, I'll throw it into div and just keep on adding them. In fact, just give you guys a small little hint here, small little preview. I'm just pulling up. There we go. And let's bring this back here for a second. Right here, div is right here. And I've already purchased 10 more of them for the next 0 to 100K. So, just so you know, I do have full faith in div. All right, let's pull that back. All right. See, you can buy total return ETF stocks with cover call income to balance it out. Yeah, exactly. Like you don't have to go all in one direction. So you can say, well, okay, I want a little bit of income, because it's fun. I like to have a little bit of income. Even if I have a total return portfolio, I still want a little bit of income because it helps me do what I call passive diversification. So I can use those dividends to sort of help, maybe throw it on a stock that's a little bit under diversified. So I find that fantastic. Jersky says, Go Easy is doing Unreal too. Yes, I've heard that. Metabima says, how does the famous or infamous 4% rule apply to ETF covered call investors? I receive $16,200 monthly on a 1.3 million portfolio. 4% says I should take $4,300 per month. Yeah, no, you don't have to worry about that as much. So that 4% rule is mostly for people who are actually pulling out of your principal. So if you can live perfectly fine off of the dividends, then, you don't need to be pulling any additional amount out. And what I would even say is if you're making more dividends than you need, then you could always reinvest, and that's only going to sort of keep snowballing the amount. So that's a couple of options that you have. And the 4% rule, there's a lot of arguments over whether it's enough, but that's for people who are, have more growth or dividend growth stocks in their portfolio. Then it's like, yeah, okay. Because when you look at something like, well, when we just looked at HPS.A, you had 100% growth. Taking 4% from that is not a lot. It's not going to hurt them at all. So it's just one of those things to sort of keep in mind when you're looking at things. So with the covered call ETFs, I wouldn't worry about that 4% rule so much. Terry says, my Telus position used to give me hemorrhoids. Oh dear. But I'm presently surfing on dividend drip on 2050 shares and massively growing. I blame the stupid repetitive buying on self-hate complex, but now all good. Oh, wow. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that 4% is a fallacy. And thanks again, all that fun stuff. Okay. Very, very cool. I'm going to have myself another coffee here. Oh, that's so good. So coming up this week, we've actually got the RESP video that's finally coming out on Tuesday. Channel members do get to see it one day early, so you guys will be able to see it tomorrow afternoon when I'm finished editing. It's going to be more of an informational. So it's not what stocks should you put into an RESP. It's like what they are, how they work, how you should be using them type thing. It's going to be more of an informational video. Excuse me. Somewhere down the road, I do want to do a, maybe even an RESP portfolio. And here's the funny thing. If I do that, I'll probably do like a multiple portfolios. Like this is what your portfolio may look like when your children are younger. And this is what it looks like when your children are getting ready for university, because it's completely different. If you think about it, when your children are getting ready for university, they need that cash to be ready. They also need it to be stable. So if we were moving into a bear market, you can't sort of say to them, oh dear, well, we moved into a bear market, so there's not that much money there right now. Could you maybe take a year off before going into university? So you don't have that option. So you kind of have to sort of shift it into a more conservative portfolio as you're getting closer to university day. So just something to keep in mind. But that's coming out. We also have, of course, we're going to have the bonus live stream on Thursday. So Thursday night, we'll have that bonus live stream for the channel members. They're telling me they're going to vote. I'll put a thing out tomorrow morning, and they'll vote. Let me know what that's going to be. I'm also going to put out the next deep dive vote as well. I'll put that out for everybody, so that way there you guys can tell me what I'm going to do a deep dive on towards the end of the week. We will give you guys an opportunity on Wednesday. So those of you who are at the market close Wednesday, we'll give an opportunity to see if you want an extra market close on Friday. So that opportunity would be there. We're also slowly getting closer to that 4,000 subs. So at 4,000 subs, oh dear, we're going to do a open to close live stream. That's going to be fantastic. It's going to be long. But it will happen. So that one is like right now we're at, what are we at? 38 and change. So not that much longer. All right. Al says, every time I see a financial advisor suggest 4%, they never bring up government retirement plans. Yeah. And you guys will know I've never done a video on this 4% rule because I don't really subscribe to it. The truth is you're going to pull out of your funds what you need to survive. Somebody's not going to say, oh gosh, I can't survive on 4%, so I have to skip 5 meals every week just to get myself into that 4. Nobody's going to do that. There's other ways. There's other ways around it. 9 says, yeah, my goal is to avoid the 4% rule, only pull income so I can sell shares when I want. Yeah, exactly. It makes sense. Now, keep in mind too, in retirement, now this all may change. You have to realize too, the world right now is on the verge of a lot of disruption when it comes to AI. We may get to a point. So let me just put this out here. If we get to a point where robots and AI is doing everything, at that point, things like OAS, CPP, they may all become a thing of the past, and everybody will have just a universal basic income, or however they're going to do it, or however form it's going to be. So it could be very, very interesting. Not to say you shouldn't be preparing in case everybody's wrong. And there will definitely, I think there'll still be a monetary system, and I think people who have more of it will always have some advantages for sure. But it could be there could be a better system in place. I think by the time, especially if you're a younger investor, it's the whole retirement thing will look absolutely different to what those of us who are heading towards it, within the next 10, 20 years. It's going to look a lot different. But we'll see. We'll have to see. I can't wait. I mean, if I see differences, I'll make videos on it. So I plan to keep making videos right up until I don't want to anymore, and I don't see that coming anytime in the near foreseeable future for sure. Ian says everything I own pays a dividend. I know it's not the best way to go, but I want to retire in a few years. Yeah, well, everything. There's not a lot. Like when you look at a growth investor, most of their stuff is going to have at least some amount of dividend. So, it's like even. I think right now in the 0 to 100K, only one thing in the entire portfolio has no dividend at all. And that's, I think it's HXQ. Yeah, HXQ has no dividend. So that's the only one. Like I have things that have very small dividends, like less than 1%, that are technically growth stocks. But yeah. All right. I'm having another sip too. Oh, yes, absolutely. Did NVIDIA split? They did leave the building. No, they should be opening. They should be opening tomorrow with the split in place. I'm going to take a gander here and see if the price is. No, it's not priced in yet. So right now they're still sitting at 1,208.88. Now, interestingly enough, I know one of you guys were saying that, they're going to hit 1,300 before the split. It did not happen. But they peaked at 1255. So we'll have to see how this looks. It should be good for them overall. And I do expect to see the price going up. So just something to keep in mind. All right. Nine says thanks for the stream. Yeah, absolutely. I love doing these with you guys. You guys are all awesome. All right. Another thank you. I haven't said goodbye yet. It's like I said goodbye. Everybody's saying, love the stream. Can't wait for next week. It's like, all right. I haven't said goodbye yet. GID, university is not worth. Everything is learnable online, and those jobs that require certification also have a board you have to sell your soul to. True enough. But keep in mind, so with like an RESP, you can use that money in there to go to trade school. If you want to become a carpenter or something like that. So you can use it that way as well. So I think in most cases, like going to university and getting something like a liberal arts degree is probably not a highly recommendable thing to do. But there are some jobs that you are going to need to do that. Like if you want to be a scientist, or if you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, those are ones you will definitely still need higher education for. But yeah, no, I mean, if you want a good job and you're not looking to put a lot of time into school, you may want to consider the trades, because you will make an absolute ton of cash. Patricia says, thanks, Al Bundy, but it doesn't show it on Wealthsimple. All right. So yeah. All right. There's a calculation. There we go. I'm trying to not read stuff that isn't addressed to the whole chat. I'm terrible at it. I am terrible at it. All right. There we go. It is priced for me. Gotta love it. All right. Well, we're at 1 hour and 40 minutes, and you guys all seem to think it's over. So, throw in if you got last minute questions, throw them in. I'll hear them out, and we'll go from there. I'll have a coffee while you guys are throwing in those last questions. And your last chance to hit the like button. So, hit it, turn it blue. Even if you're watching this on a TV, I actually found on the TV, there's a way to do it. It's convoluted, but you can still hit the like button. Oh, that's good. All right. All right. I do not know what those are. It's probably because it's really small in the chat in StreamYard, but it looks like I don't know. It's a couple of things around banana bread, so I don't know what they are, but we'll just assume it's really funny, and I'll laugh. Someone pick an ETF to have a look at. Yeah, pick an ETF, folks. It's important. Yeah. I will. All right, you guys. I'll pick an ETF. I will pick an ETF. Let me pull this up here. All right. I'll show you guys. This will be like a thing. All right. So down here in my US stocks, all I have right now listed is AIQ. I haven't added the other two to the spreadsheet yet, but give me a second here. All right, we're not going to look at VOO just yet. All right, where is my thing at here? Give me one moment. I'm going to just going to come over here for a second because I think I may have timed out. All right. Did I time out? No, I did not. All right. Let's look at, we'll look at one here. We're going to look at LBRT. This is another company that I have. Oh, it's not an ETF, though. Neither of these are ETFs. I'm sorry. Well, we'll look at it anyway. Whoops. Oh, right here is where I want to be. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. All right. LBRT. So this here is a U.S. stock that I have just added to the challenge. So Liberty Energy Inc. All right. So if we take a look at their 3-year, you can see they've been, they've had a little bit of volatility, but overall they've been moving up. So I like that about them. Now, let's tell you what they do down here. So they're basically, you can see here, an oil field services company. So what that means is that they provide different services and technology to oil fields. So for example, hydraulic fractioning services. So pressure pumping, because that's what happens with fracking. They actually pump high pressure water into the well, and that basically pushes the oil out. So because oil and water are immiscible, so that works that way. But this is kind of the cool thing. So this is a technology that there's a big demand for, and as we continue to, especially in the U.S., where they keep on pushing the oil production higher and higher to sort of keep the prices down because they're kind of fighting against OPEC. There's a strong demand for their services. Now, they don't have a huge dividend, so 1.232%. Now, keep in mind, because I'm putting this in a USD TFSA, I'm not going to pick something with a big dividend because, I don't mind losing 15% of 1.2%. It's minuscule. It doesn't really mean anything to me. But I'll show you a couple of other things here. Let's go to the key data. So if you take a look at their key data, so they've got a very strong return on equity, 27.37%. The return on assets, absolutely incredible, 16.24%. They've got very little debt, so basically a 24% debt to equity ratio, not too shabby at all. So everything I've seen with this company, I have absolutely loved. And they just recently actually raised that low dividend to a slightly lower dividend, or slightly less low dividend. So from 5 to 7 cents. So this is a company I'm looking forward to seeing some growth out of it. And that's what I'm going to ride up. Now, the other one I added as well that was Liberty Energy. Let's show you this other one, FRD. Now, you're probably, when I said FRD, how many of you said Ford? It's not Ford. It's Friedman Industries. All right, so let's take a look at their. This is their 3-year. So they've been a little bit up and down. So, and that's the thing. I don't need that perfect rise. Now, when you look at the 1 year, it does look a little more impressive. But here's what they do. So let's come down here. So they are involved in the manufacturing and processing of steel products. So that's kind of important here. So one of the things with a lot of the steel type products that they make, they're going to be needed in a lot of infrastructure. And that's kind of a key thing. There's a key push on infrastructure right across the board. So this is going to be a company that there's a lot of demand for. So I'm happy with that. Now they have an even smaller dividend of 0.974%. And we'll go over to their key data. And with them, not as impressive as the other one, as Liberty, but they've got a 16.16 return on equity, 8.64 return on assets, and once again, 38% debt to equity ratio. So this is a company that is set up to do some really good growth. Now, this is a company, though, I will point out that as long as the infrastructure push is on, I'll stay with them. They're not a long term for me. They're more of a midterm. So this is a company I'll probably ride probably the rest of this year and a bit into 2025. And then if they start slowing down at that point, I may sell and take some profits and move it into something else. But definitely something I look forward to. And I'll talk more about this in the next 0 to 100K. You guys are just getting that big preview. So nothing too shabby about that. All right. Let's get back here. I'll have another sip as well. Yes, it is tasty, but also good for you. Absolutely. All right. Al Bundy, seen VU so many times. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you really want to look at VU, that's your Vanguard ETF. So VOO. There we go. All right. So, of course, this is going to look very flat. No, it should. Let's see here. All right. Oh, no, let me see if there was a multiple. Yeah, there was. Let's go with this one here. There we go. So you look at it and you're going to see here's the bear market. So they will tend to move up with the S&P 500. Now they have a smaller dividend, so 1.288%. So actually they wouldn't be a bad one to have in here. This is also a one that some people will love. Like some people will say, I will hold VU instead of like VFV in my, but I'll put VU in like my RRSP. So that way there, I don't have to worry about the 15% withholding tax. So yeah, but they're definitely a good one. Now with ETFs, you're not going to get all the same data. So when I come down here, for example, you'll see there's no debt to equity, there's no return on equity, no return. And that's normal. That's normal. So we don't even look at those for the most part with ETFs. But you can sort of see with these guys as well, you'll notice too, their dividends, they change pretty much constantly. And that really has to do with how well their bundle of stocks is doing. They pass on that dividend. If they have a better than normal month, you get a better than normal dividend. So nice little thing with VU. And as you can see, pretty much the worst month they've had was back here, their March 29th one. So, and you'll also notice too that they are quarterly. So, but yeah, that's good old VU. All right, let's pull this back up here. Ian says, my kid's mom is coming over to get something from my daughter's room. Do I leave the house or hide in my room? Oh, hide just outside the door of your daughter's room and scare her. Just saying. You probably shouldn't do it, but if she would take it well, then maybe do it. Let's see, for an ETF, what about looking at FCUV? Okay, well, let's pull it back up. FCUV. Oops, it helps if I type. Well, it helps if I type and it actually goes in the box. All right. Now, we've looked at this one before, and I think I like it. I think I definitely like it. So, yeah, they've been absolutely. So this, by the way, this is the Fidelity US Value ETF. All right. Now, they are also quarterly. Same kind of idea. So, very similar idea to VU, but it's another one that I do like. I mean, and if you look at the 3-year, they've actually had a more consistent 3-year than VU. So something to keep in mind. Definitely something to keep in mind. I will also point out, as I said before, when we come in here to the thing, you'll notice in this case, this is an exception. So this one actually does have a return on equity and a return on assets. You will find it sometimes, but you won't always find it with an ETF. They're nice numbers, but I do hold a little bit less weight. If this was an individual company, I would hold more weight on these numbers. Like I would have a Holy Banana Bread ready for a 33.27 on a regular stock. On an ETF, maybe not, maybe not. But you will see too that their dividend price is also all over the board. Now we have a couple missing ones. I don't know the story behind these, so that's a little odd. That would make me want to at least investigate to see if something happened to them. Back here, and then this one here is interesting too. So sometimes if I see something that doesn't really make a lot of sense, I may just go over to Yahoo Finance. So, well, let's do that. So if we go to Yahoo Finance, we'll bring them up here. All right, FCUV. Here we go. Fidelity US. There it is. All right. And then from here, I'm going to go over to historical data. And I just want to see their dividends. I should be able to. Well, that's interesting. I'm not even seeing any dividends over here. Oh, dear. Let me just see. There was 2 of them here. FCUV. All right. Okay. Wow, that's odd. All right. That's the FCUV. All right. Okay, let's try this one. Oh, that was a -U. My mistake. That was my mistake. All right. Well, let's now go, once again, we'll go to historical data. And we'll go to dividends only. Apply. And here we go. All right. I'm going to put this to the 1 year. Just so we can sort of see. Oh, let's go with, we'll go with 5 years. All right. So we can see here, March, December, September, June, March. Okay. So they did have something happen. So there was an issue that happened. So it looks to me like they turned off their dividend for about a year. Now that's interesting. I would want to investigate that if I'm super concerned about the dividend. Now this here, to me, when I look at this though, let's come back here. When I look at this, I might be more concerned, or not more concerned. I may be more like thinking about that growth, because that's a great growth from 17. Basically from 13.59 to 17. That's really good total return there. So I might be more concerned about that, but I'm still going to look. If a company has like a year where there's no dividend, it's like, okay, but why? Why was there no dividend? So that's something I would definitely look into. Let's see, what up with CVW Clean Tech, up 61% over the last month. CVW, let's take a look. All right, CVW, here we go, Clean Tech. So this here is on the Venture, so TSX Venture. And let's take a look at the last 3 months then. So here we go. Yeah, they went from 56 cents to 97. Now, sometimes when you are dealing with a penny stock, you can definitely get some really good movements on here. But let's see. Let's see here. So they did announce their first quarter, full quarter, appointment of vice president corporate. So there's nothing here standing out unless even then that would be that's the last month. So if they had a really good, I don't know if this will actually give me the information. Let's pull it up and see. All right, 5.3 million. Net loss was okay. Yeah, there's nothing in here that's standing out that would actually do that, but there might have been something in the news that was related to them that caused a big jump. But even then, keep in mind, it's not really that big of a jump. Penny stocks will move a lot more than regular stocks. And that's why they're dangerous, because that move can go in either direction. So you want to be a little bit careful. All right, let's bring this here back. Tanya says stocks versus eligible Canadian dividends in non-registered accounts. Yeah, so if you have non-eligible dividends, so there's two different types. You got non-eligible, and then you have eligible. So Canadian eligible. The eligible ones mean that you basically can apply for the tax credit. So you end up getting a little bit of a break on the taxes on those dividends, opposed to non-eligible, which are just 100% taxable. Ian says, I filled my non-registered account with eligible dividends. Yeah, you want to try to do that. Like if you have non-eligible dividends, if at all possible, get that into one of your registered accounts, because then, you don't have to worry about it. Ian says, my kid's mom is bitter because she left me before I became successful. I want to hear what she says about my house. Oh, well, then you got to be there. You got to be there. Maybe rub it in, maybe like put on like a polo shirt and make it look like you just got back from golfing. And I don't know, just rub it in. Let's see. Yahoo Finance is pretty good for a free. Yeah, Yahoo Finance is a really good site. They're really good. I also like TMX Money. Then there's a lot of paid sites that, sometimes you have to pay to get information, but yeah, absolutely. Yes, from time to time. Ian says, I told my daughter I would not be around, but it's my house, so I think I will stay in my room. Yeah, why not? Why not? And there we go. Well, hopefully, that's the thing. Some people, when they break up, they become that oil and water. So they become very amicable. But, it is nice sometimes if you can be friends and have like a clean break. But, oh, well. All right, guys, we're at about 2 hours. This is fantastic. This has been another great day. You guys are absolutely awesome. So we will be back again on Wednesday for the market close. You guys will have an opportunity to gain another market close. So we'll do that on Wednesday. Until then, everybody, I will say take care. Have a really good week. Or, the new week's starting. Have a good week. We'll see you here on Wednesday. Hopefully we got a green day. We'll see. All right. Take care, everybody.